Change, uncertainty, two words that can spark fear, hesitation, and even paralysis in small business owners. But here's the thing, uncertainty isn't the enemy, it's the invitation. An invitation to innovate, to adapt, and to lead with clarity, even when the path ahead is foggy. Hello, and welcome back, my fellow entrepreneurs. Now, I'm Kim, your host here on Small Business Big AI, the podcast where we cut through the noise of artificial intelligence and tech trends to bring you practical, actionable strategies to grow and scale your business. This is your space, a space for small business leaders, innovators, and go-getters who are ready to scale sustainably, harness the power of cutting-edge tools, and navigate the ever-changing world of policies and regulations in our AI-driven era. It's so good to have you here for our very first episode of 2025. Now, if you tuned in last December, you'll remember we didn't just make resolutions, we made a plan. We reviewed our numbers, celebrated our wins, and reflected on the lessons learned. We also identified what worked, what didn't, and where we could improve. But planning was just step one. Now it's time to work that plan. It's time to stay focused, build profitable businesses, give back to our communities, and dare I say, create a movement. And how are we going to do that? Well, right here together on Small Business Big AI, we'll continue to explore transformative insights on AI and emerging technologies. We'll unpack strategies inspired by global thought leaders, share actionable resources, and provide you with the tools to build what I'd like to call your technology-enabled superpowers. Now, let's talk about today's episode, a topic that's on everyone's mind as we step into this pivotal year, change and uncertainty. Now, with a new administration stepping in and the aftershocks of global economic trends still rippling through our businesses, it's natural to ask, what happens next? Or even, what happens now? But here's the thing, and I'm not here to sugarcoat it. Change and uncertainty can feel like staring into a foggy road ahead. Now, inflation remains a buzzword. Interest rates are unpredictable, and regulatory shifts are coming whether you're ready or not. But here's the good news. Change and uncertainty don't have to mean chaos. So in today's episode, we're going to break it all down. How economic factors like inflation and shifting regulations directly impact small businesses. The ripple effects on cash flow, customer spending habits, and supply chain management. And most importantly, how industry experts like McKinsey, BCG, and the MIT Initiative on the Digital Economy are guiding businesses through these changes and challenges. So buckle up, because we are about to dive in. And trust me, by the end of today's episode, you'll feel informed, empowered, and ready to tackle whatever 2025 throws your way. All right, let's dive in. Economic uncertainty. It's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot on the news, in boardrooms, and definitely in small business circles. But what does it actually mean for entrepreneurs like you and me? And more importantly, how do we navigate it without losing our footing? So let's start with the big picture. As we enter 2025, we're facing a landscape marked by inflation that still feels like an ever-present shadow. and interest rates that seem to dance to their own unpredictable rhythm, and a new administration bringing fresh policies and priorities to the table. Now, for small businesses, every one of these factors can feel magnified. A small fluctuation in interest rates isn't just a news headline. It's the difference between securing affordable financing or missing out on a growth opportunity. A shift in consumer confidence isn't just a data point. It's fewer sales on the books and tighter margins at the end of the month. And let's not even get started on supply chains. For many of you, whether you're in retail, manufacturing, or even service-based industries, the reliability of suppliers can feel like a game of roulette. Whether from China, Canada, Mexico, or even the U.S., as small businesses, we feel each and every fluctuation of the supply chain. But here's the thing. Knowledge is power. The better we understand these forces, the better we can respond to them. So let's break this down into 3 key areas, and that's cash flow, customer behavior, and supply chain vulnerabilities. First, if you've been in business for any amount of time, you know this truth, and that is cash flow is king. And in times of change or economic uncertainty, it becomes the lifeline of your business. Now, inflation drives up the cost of everything, from your raw materials to your software subscriptions. Higher interest rates means financing is more expensive. And late payments from customers, well, that hurts us too. But here's a stat that puts it into perspective. According to a recent report from McKinsey, nearly 60% of small businesses identify cash flow as their number one concern in uncertain economic climates. So, what do we do about it? Now, the key is proactive management, not reactive scrambling. So, in our next segment, Hal and I will unpack specific financial strategies. But for now, I want you to simply ask yourself these 3 questions. Do you have a cash reserve to weather a few months of unpredictability? Are you monitoring your accounts receivable like a hawk? And have you explored alternative financing options that could give you more flexibility? If the answer to any of these questions is no, or even I'm not sure, well, keep listening. That's exactly what we're going to address in just a bit in our newest segment called Coffee Table Conversations with Kim and Hal. Okay, let's talk customer behavior. So change and economic uncertainty doesn't just affect you as a business owner. It affects your customers too. When people feel uncertain about the future, their spending habits change. They cut back on non-essentials, prioritize savings, and become more price sensitive. But here's the interesting part. Research shows that customers don't stop spending entirely. They just shift how they spend. And businesses that understand these shifts can adapt and even thrive. Now, for example, during periods of uncertainty, consumers often prioritize value and reliability over some flashy marketing campaigns. Now, they're looking for reassurance and consistency. So here's your homework. Take a good look at your offerings. Are you clearly communicating the value you provide? Are there ways you can bundle products or services to make them feel like a better deal? And most importantly, are you staying connected to your customers through transparent communication? Because trust me, when customers are tightening their wallets, trust becomes your most valuable currency. Lastly, let's talk supply chains. If the past few years have taught us anything, it's that even the most well-oiled supply chains can come to a grinding halt when global or even local disruptions occur. Now, whether it's delays, striking labor unions, rising shipping costs, or geopolitical tensions, it all trickles down to small businesses. But here's something interesting. According to insights from the MIT Initiative on the Digital Economy, businesses that invested in digital tools for supply chain management were able to adapt significantly faster during disruptions. So if supply chain headaches have been keeping you up at night, consider this. Do you have visibility across your supply chains? Are you working with multiple suppliers to reduce risk? And are you leveraging digital tools to monitor and predict potential disruptions? Now, these solutions aren't always easy, but they are actionable. And even small adjustments can have a big impact on your resilience. Now, at the end of the day, change and uncertainty is part of the game when you run a business. But, and this is important, it doesn't have to be paralyzing. When you understand the economic forces at play, when you have a strategy to address cash flow, customer shifts, and supply chain challenges, you're not just surviving uncertainty. You're navigating it with intention. And coming up next, Hal is joining me for Coffee Table Conversations, where we'll dig deeper into the strategies and tools you can start using today to face these challenges head on. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and I'll see you in the next segment. Let's take a quick breather here. If you're enjoying the episode and picking up some valuable insights, make sure to subscribe to Small Business Big AI on your favorite podcast app so you never miss out on future conversations. And hey, if you know someone who could use this information, go ahead and share it with them too. All right, welcome back everyone. And joining me now, as promised, is our resident business coach, consultant, and all-around strategist, Hal.
Hey Kim, it's great to be here. And hello to all my entrepreneurs out there tuning in. I'm excited to dig into today's topic.
Absolutely, Hal. You know, in the first segment, we laid out some of the key challenges that small businesses tend to face during times of change and uncertainty. That's cash flow constraints, shifts in customer behavior, and supply chain vulnerabilities. Now, it's really a lot to manage, and I think many listeners just might be feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Totally understandable, Kim. Change. Economic uncertainty. It can definitely feel like you're trying to steer a ship in a foggy waters. But there's one thing. While we can't control the economic weather, we can control how we navigate through it. And that starts with a plan.
Yeah, exactly. So, Hal, what I'd like for you to do now is really break this down into some practical strategies. Now, I talked about cash flow in the first segment. So can you give us more detail and insights really into cash flow management?
Well, cash flow is like oxygen for a business. When it runs out, the whole operation shuts down. No matter how great your product or service is, and during challenging or uncertain times, it's critical to manage it like with laser like focus.
Agreed. So, what are some actionable steps our listeners can take today to protect their cash flow?
3 key things. Know your numbers. Entrepreneurs, if you're not already reviewing your cash flow weekly or even daily, you need to start now. Tools like QuickBooks, Xero, the online accounting software, or even AI-powered platforms like Float can give you the real-time visibility into your finances. Number 2, cut non-essential expenses. Take a hard look at your spending. Are there subscriptions, tools, or services you're paying for but not fully utilizing? Trim the fat. Number 3, diversify your revenue streams. If your income relies too heavily on one product, one client, or one sales channel, it's time to diversify. Explore recurring revenue models, offering complementary services, or build partnerships.
I love that last point, Hal. So, diversification isn't just about growth, it's about resilience.
Absolutely. And remember, maintaining a cash reserve, even if it's just enough to cover 3 months of expenses, can make all the difference when things get a little bumpy.
All right, Hal, let's talk about regulations. Now, a new administration often brings changes to tax laws or labor policies and even industry regulations. Now, for small business owners, that can feel, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's just say daunting.
Oh, no doubt about it. But here's the deal. Staying ahead of regulatory changes doesn't have to be overwhelming if you have the right systems in place.
Okay, so then what's your advice here?
First, stay informed. Subscribe to updates from your trusted sources. Second, leverage technology. There are tools like Avalara for tax compliance or AI-powered HR platforms like Gusto that help you stay on top of payroll taxes and employee benefits for compliance. Lastly, build relationships with advisors. Having a reliable accountant, a legal consultant, or even a business coach and mentor can give you the clarity and save you a lot of time and headaches down the road.
Yeah, Hal, and let's not forget it's better to be proactive than reactive. Regulatory mistakes can be costly, and I'm not just talking about financially, but also in terms of your reputation.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, Hal, we've talked about cash flow and we've talked about compliance. So now let's talk about something I really know you're passionate about, and that is resilience.
Oh, I could go on about this all day. Resilience. It's not about surviving change, uncertainty, or a downturn. It's about building a business that can thrive despite of them.
All right, then hit us with the highlights. Now, how do we build resilience?
With 3 key strategies. Number 1, scenario planning. Think about the best case, worst case, and most likely scenarios for your business. Plan your responses to each. Number 2, invest in flexibility. Can you pivot quickly if your primary product or market takes a hit? Think about subscription models, digital offerings, or low overhead service lines. Number 3, strengthen relationships. Build trust with your customers, suppliers, and team. Strong relationships create loyalty. Loyalty creates stability.
That's so true, Hal. And really, I'll add one more to that. Invest in your team. So when uncertainty hits, your employees are looking to you for leadership. A team that feels supported and valued will stick with you really through hard or uncertain times.
Spot on, Kim. Leadership during uncertainty isn't about having all the answers. It's about showing up with clarity, empathy, and consistency.
All right, Hal. So let's recap these strategies for our listeners. So first, manage your cash flow proactively. Then stay ahead of regulations with systems and advisors. And finally, build resilience through planning, flexibility, and strong relationships.
Exactly. And if you're listening right now and thinking, where do I even start? Start with one thing. Pick one strategy from today's episode and commit to taking action on it this week. Small steps lead to big changes.
Well said, Hal. And speaking of big changes, in our next segment, we're going to talk about one of the biggest opportunities for small business in 2025. That's technology integration.
That's a game changer, Kim. It's something every small business owner can do and must do to be viable and competitive in the AI era. It's not just about having the perfect plan up front. It's about starting somewhere with something, then testing and iterating and hopefully scaling. I'll be tuning in for sure.
Thanks so much for joining me today, Hal. Your insights are always spot on. Don't just listen, level up. The AI era waits for no one. Start building your technology-enabled superpower today. Subscribe to Small Business Big AI and take your first step. Welcome back, everyone. Now it's time to turn our focus to technology integration. Here's the deal. Like Hal mentioned, technology isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's a must have. Whether it's improving efficiency, streamlining operations, or connecting with customers in smarter ways, technology is the competitive edge that small businesses cannot afford to ignore. So I want to break this down into 3 core areas. Now, first, why technology integration matters. Second, practical strategies for adoption. And finally, I will give you a real-world example inspired by industrial robots. So let's dive in. Now, first things first, let's talk about the why. Why does technology integration matter so much, especially now? Well, let's look at the numbers. According to research from the MIT Initiative on the Digital Economy, small businesses that adopted digital tools during previous periods of economic uncertainty not only weathered the storm better, but actually saw higher growth rates compared to their non-tech savvy peers. And why? Because technology isn't just about speed. It's about intelligence, efficiency, and adaptability. But, and here's the big but, technology only works if you're intentional about how you integrate it into your business. So if you've been hesitant to adopt technology, here's the truth. And I've said this many times before. You don't need to overhaul your entire business overnight. You don't need to become a tech wizard. But you do need to start somewhere. which brings us to our next point, and that's practical strategies for adoption. All right, let's get practical. Here are some immediately actionable strategies for integrating technology into your business. Now, first, start small and prioritize. Identify one area of your business where you feel the most overwhelmed. Now, is it customer communication, maybe inventory management, or financial tracking? Start there. Choose one tool. Maybe it's a CRM platform like HubSpot or an AI chatbot for customer support. Now, number 2, leverage affordable AI tools. AI isn't just for tech giants, it's for you. Tools like ChatGPT for content creation, or Zapier for automating workflows, or Trello for project management are all cost-effective ways to integrate AI into your day-to-day operations. And here's the bonus. Most of these tools have free tiers or affordable starter plans. Then 3, train your team. Your tools are only as effective as your team's ability to use them. So make training a priority. Platforms like Udemy or LinkedIn Learning offer affordable courses tailored specifically to small businesses. Now, number 4, measure and adjust. Just don't set it and forget it. Regularly review whether your tools are meeting your needs. Are they saving time? Are they increasing productivity? Are they delivering the results? Technology, when integrated strategically, is empowering. It frees you and your team to focus on the tasks that truly drive your business forward. Now, let me share a story about a business putting these principles into action. I want to tell you about a forward-thinking entrepreneur, a system solution advisor, or SSA, a lean manufacturing process expert. Now, her business focuses on helping clients across multiple industries, like agriculture, aerospace maintenance, or even industrial paint removal. Now, we're talking about helping businesses streamline operations using smart automation solutions, industrial robots. Now, for example, in agriculture, think robotics for product handling, packaging, and label scanning to improve efficiency in fulfillment centers. Or in aerospace maintenance shops, think about systems that automate complex part repair tasks, reducing errors and turnaround time. And in industrial spaces like bus depots and automotive centers, tools handle automated paint removal processes, making them faster, safer, and more precise. But here's the part I want you to focus on for your business, and that's the results of these robotic processing systems, these industrial robots. I want you to think productivity up, error rates down. Now, thoughtful, intentional technology integration can unlock growth, not just in terms of revenue, but in how a business operates day to day. Now, again, you might be saying, Kim, how does this help me and my small business? Well, remember what Hal said. Integrating technology is something every small business owner can do and must do to be viable and competitive in the AI era. Technology is no longer optional, my friend. It's essential. It levels the playing field. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. The businesses that thrive in the AI era aren't necessarily the biggest or the flashiest, but they're the ones that are adaptable, strategic, and open to innovation. Now, you don't need to have it all figured out today. You just need to be willing to start. And if today's episode sparked an idea, or if you've had success with a tech tool in your own business, I'd really love to hear about it. So reach out to me via email or social media, and who knows, your story might just inspire a future episode. All right, my fellow entrepreneurs, as we wrap up our first episode of 2025, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered today. Now, we started by facing the elephant in the room. That was change and economic uncertainty. We broke it down: cash flow constraints, shifting customer behaviors, and supply chain vulnerabilities, and explored how understanding these factors put you back in the driver's seat. Then Hal joined us for coffee table conversations, and together we tackled strategies to stay financially resilient, remain compliant with changing regulations, and build a flexible, future-ready business model. And finally, we turned our focus to technology integration and why it's critical, how to start small, and how thoughtful adoption can transform not just your operations, but your entire business. And if there's one thing I hope you're walking away with today, it's this: change and uncertainty don't have to mean chaos. With knowledge, strategy, and the right tools, you can turn unpredictability into opportunity. And that's it for today's episode of Small Business, Big AI. Thanks again for tuning in. The year ahead may bring challenges to some, no doubt, but it will also have its breakthroughs. And those breakthroughs won't come from waiting for perfect conditions. They'll come from taking action. So whatever it is, start, because small, consistent steps lead to big changes over time. And remember, this podcast isn't just a one-way street. I want to hear from you. What are your opportunities, concerns, or challenges for your small business? What tools or strategies are you using to tackle them? And what stories do you have about embracing technology? So shoot me an email, drop a comment on social media, or send me a direct message. Your insights, your questions, and your stories are what makes this show a community, and I'd love to feature them in future episodes. And hey, if today's conversation sparked something for you, please subscribe and share this podcast with a fellow entrepreneur. Let's grow this community together, because we all know that small businesses are the heart and soul of the American dream, and the future belongs to those who are prepared to adapt. Remember, we're not just building small businesses anymore. In the AI era, we're building big. We're building technology-enabled superpowers. So thank you so much for spending this time with me today. And whether you're listening in your car, on a walk, or in between tasks at your desk, I am grateful you chose to be here to listen. So here's to a year of resilience, growth, and innovation. Now I'm Kim, and this has been Small Business, Big AI. So until next time, keep innovating, Keep adapting, and remember, the future of your business is bigger than you think.